Hello and welcome. Today we are going to be talking about the Caliphs, who were early Islamic rulers. In particular, we will talk about Ali, who is the last of the rightly guided Caliphs in Sunni Islam. We will look at how he and other senior Islamic figures have applied Muhammad's teaching. This is really important to understanding Islam, as the Caliphs were also the people who were responsible for how the Qur'an got written down and how Islamic tradition was passed down. They were also the first people to have put Islamic law into practice, and their practical interpretations are likely to be the closest to that of Muhammad's. The Caliphs are thus very important, and there is loads that we could say, but today we are going to look at just one issue. I hope to come back to them in more detail at another time. The early Caliphs were involved in a lot of wars against other Muslims. Yet in Surah of An-Nisa, the Surah of Women, in ayahs 92 and 93, we are told what should happen when Muslims kill other Muslims. Ayah 92 discusses what happens if you kill another Muslim by accident, how you can make reparations for this, and what the consequences are. In Ayah 93, it begins to talk about what happens if you kill another Muslim deliberately. It says, for those who kill another Muslim deliberately, they are to go to hell, and the wrath of God is on them. Additionally, they are going to suffer great punishment, and there is no way to avoid this. If you kill someone accidentally, there are different ways you can make up for this. You can pay blood money, or you can fast, but if you do it deliberately, there is no way out. This is all very interesting in light of the fact that the Caliphs themselves take part in wars. Abu Bakr, who was the first Caliph, is also one of the most violent, and he fights the apostasy war against all of the tribes who tried to leave Islam after Muhammad's death. I hope to come back and cover it in more detail later on. There is a strong tradition in the Hadith that if you leave Islam, you have to be killed, and I hope to do another video looking specifically at apostasy. However, for now, I want to talk about the war between Ali and Aisha, the first Islamic civil war. Othman, the third Caliph, was murdered by a group of Muslims because they felt he was corrupt. This then led to a civil war between Ali, who would become the fourth Caliph, and Aisha, who blamed him for the murder of Othman. Ali's and Aisha's forces eventually fought each other at the Battle of Jamal, the Battle of the Camel. It is called the Battle of the Camel because Aisha joins her forces riding on a camel. When her camel is killed in battle, the downed camel body then becomes central to the ensuing conflict, which then ends with the capture of Aisha. During the battle, about 10,000 Muslims die, and this begins the split between the Shiite and Sunni Muslims. Shiites believe Ali to be the true successor of Muhammad and thus follow his successors, while Sunni Muslims descend from Aisha's followers and accept all four of the first caliphs. This is a split that is still very much felt today. After Ali's death, there was further fighting between his son Hassan and the guy who would go on to form the Umayyad dynasty of Islamic rulers. For me, what is interesting is that Ali and Aisha are two of the most senior figures in the Prophet Muhammad's household. Aisha was considered his favourite wife and the best of all women. Ali was considered his adopted son and one of the earliest converts to Islam. He was very important. These two people should have understood Muhammad's teaching the most. One of the things Muhammad was very strong on was that Muslims should not kill other Muslims. He felt that Arabs had been too divided and this had weakened them. So the Quran is full of encouragements for Muslims to make peace with each other and to stand together. Ali and Aisha don't do that. Instead, they fight a war against each other which is heavily politically motivated. A war that is deeply rooted in revenge and looks more like the pre-Islamic practices than the teachings of Muhammad. They don't put into play Muhammad's own teaching. Muhammad's teaching says that their fate should be hell because they kill other Muslims. So in conclusion, if Islam did not work for Aisha and Ali, who knew Muhammad so well and who had heard the Quran revealed and knew its commands well, why would it work for me? If it did not work for them, then why should it work for anyone? If even Aisha and Ali are going to hell, why should I believe Islam can save anyone? If Ali and Aisha were so flawed in their faith, why should we trust the hadith and traditions which were narrated by them? These traditions were written down second or third hand in the time of rulers who were even less trustworthy than Ali and Aisha. Why should we believe that the traditions have been preserved reliably? There would have been strong political motivations to distort the traditions in favour of whatever the current leader wanted. In the Shia tradition, there is a real belief that a lot of Sunni hadith are not true because they are so politically motivated, and Sunnis believe the same thing about the Shia hadith. So how can we know which to rely on? Without trusting these things, it's hard to know how Islam can stand as a whole. I have another video coming on the importance of the hadith in Islam. If you are interested in the Second Islamic Civil War, I will put a link below to a brief overview. If you are looking for an authoritative source, you can go to Tabari's History or the History by Ibn Kathir. These are two trusted Islamic histories for these events. Thank you for your time, and feel free to comment below.